Beautiful people, we are ranking every single formation. We've had a couple patches. Let's discuss. And as per usual, we have broken, rank 1, foot champs, debatable in the pine. And if you need anything for the office setup, Black Friday, holidays, Elgato, everything, all inclusive. That's linked down below. 3142. I just don't see it used. And I can't start justifying some of these positions and moving them around and giving false credit or false hope. I'm sure there's a way to play some of the three at the backs, but they've been on a downward trend this year in particular. 3-4-1-2, a little bit better. I still wish that EA did something with the triangles. The passing has been so inconsistent. I know that we had a more recent patch, sped up the game a tad bit. Speaking of gameplay, twitch.tv/Mike LaBelle if you want to pull up for the unfiltered and uncut. I'm also looking into streaming on TikTok. You can pick the platform, but you're getting both of them collectively happening live. 3-4-2-1, similar. Now you have a little more width, better angles for the Trivellas and the finesse shots, which is definitely a nice little notch. I'm not comfortable giving this foot champs. 3-4-3, trash tier. Pine every single day of the week. The spacing is all offset. I don't like it. I've never seen anyone use a 3-4-3 with success. 3-5-2, a little more fluid. Maybe I want it to work. It helps that you do have, again, the left mid, right mid overlapping. Even the spacing with the holding mids gives you better support system. And then if you can counter down the middle, by all means, go for it. And over the top through ball, there is a little more interchangeability with strikers and passing between those strikers. That was the major shift with the most recent update, is that strikers can play amongst each other. That really wasn't possible previously, which means that 2 striker formations are the priority. 4-1-2-1-2, I never thought I'd see the day. The second variation, I don't think so. It's more debatable. Every time I go up against someone playing narrow, I'm cooking, I'm chefing, I'm eating, and I'm coming in for seconds and thirds and fourths. Maybe I'm just thinking about Thanksgiving. Either way, it hasn't been an intimidating formation to go up against, and that's a rarity. Changed my mind, which leads me to the 4-1-2-1-2, not narrow. And you get more out of it. You could take that to the weekend. You need to have some width. It helps for the outlets. I just don't trust the passing and the auto press. The way that the game has gotten all these automated functionalities and taking up space, and you don't have the same tools to get out of those situations on a regular basis without the likeliness of making error or having mistakes. 4-1-3-2 will cook you. First broken formation. The way that players can sit deep in counterattack and the options and the spacing. I don't love using this formation, but it would be an absolute disservice if I did not give it the credit that it's earned. 4-1-4-1 you can take to the weekend. It's a little more defensive than I would personally like, and you do have that striker that often sitting on an island, doesn't have a support system, and I feel like it worked better pre this patch. It's not the only formation that falls into that category. Speaking of 4-2-1-3, it's a similar story, similar picture. A couple players might move around, but the overpoweredness, the brokenness, the danger, the threat, the disappointment, the disgust, it's all real. 4-2-2 joins them. It's been filth. It's a dream of the over-the-top through ball, and you can play it in different ways. If you want to be more defensive or more attacking, you can press, you can sit deeper, you can move the line. There's the counter-attack options. You can have more support in the midfield, or you can push more players forward. 4-2-3-1, it's back. I don't know if it's quite broken, but I'm seeing a lot of it being used. Because the passing sped up, because of some of the support, I would argue for a single striker formation, it might now be the best, or at least the most discussed or experimented with at this point of the title, because previously it was dying off. We weren't seeing it. You couldn't make it work. There wasn't enough offense to go around. 4-2-3-1, the second variation, I'd go more foot champs. I still believe it's situational. That hasn't changed. You want to see out a game? By all means, this works. Otherwise, it's pretty slow moving going forward. Your level of patience has to be through the roof if you want to have high levels of success, and some of you will have that. Maybe it's just not for yours truly, and I try to make these videos with the macro in mind. 4-2-4 might be a surprise, but if you want to play an attacking game and just put people in uncomfortable situations and scenarios, it has a place. It has some value. The 4-3-1-2, similar to the 4-1-2-1-2. I just don't go up against enough people that are using it where I feel that I'm in a position that's not advantageous, which means my formation has an advantage. If you've ever played fighting games or even watched some of that content, there are matchups that have advantages and disadvantages. Right now, the narrow formations, you could still win with them, but I don't think you're doing yourself any favors, at least not versus true meta. 4-3-2-1, I'm gonna lean into rank 1. It's just got such good angling and immediate angles for the finesse shots and for the Travellas. You can get the ball into dangerous locations sooner than later. The 4-3-3s have all kicked up. You're seeing them in rotationals. The 4-3-3-4 has been absolutely causing issues. The 4-3-3-2, which is with one holding mid, I don't see used as commonly. I'm going to put that into foot champs. There's plenty of preference when it comes to the 4-3-3. So if you're using this as a mainstay, let me know which variation in particular that you prefer. 4-3-3-3 is with the two holding midfielders, which I do see in rotationals. I still believe it's a better formation to close out a game, maybe look for those counterattacks. Maybe I'm just not in love with it, which leads me to the baseline 4-3-3, which joins the 4-3-3-4. Those are the two that I play the most and I play the best. Again, the concept is generally similar. It's about the spacing of the midfield and some of the players pushing forward. That's really the difference maker. Give and take, and I look forward to maybe some back and forth in the comments regarding 4-3-3s in particular. 4-4-1-1 second variation, which is now the only variation. I love this formation before the patch. Post-patch, it's not as good, but I don't know that I'm ready to take it out of rank 1, but I still don't think it's as good as maybe some of the other options. It's hurting me. I'm having some internal conflict. I'm taking it to foot champs. The 4-3-3s are an exception to having the one striker because those other wingers or forwards, depending how you set it up, you don't feel alone in those attacks. The 4-4-2 second variation, strong, can be annoying. It resembles the 4-2-2, which I just recommend going that direction unless you are just gravitating or you need players in these positions. It's basically center attacking mids or strikers in exchange for wingers or outside midfielders. 4-4-2, still taking that to broken. The amount of versatility, the optionality that you have, it's undeniable. And it's the reason that you see so many different pro players, casual players, intermediate, advanced. Everyone is using the 4-4-2 in many regards, and then they shift it amongst the personnel that you have available. 4-5-1, and it's also had its moment this year, and I never thought that it would, but it most definitely was making it into conversations and discussions. I still prefer the second variation compared to the 4-5-1 that has those center attacking mids. You can trigger some of those central runs and you end up with an extra midfielder at all times if you go with the flat route. The 5 at the backs, I'm not seeing a bunch of them compared to where it was at. And because I am an open hater with the 5 at the back, we're gonna take the 5-4-1 second variation to the pine. I'm not promoting it. I don't have to. 5-3-2, maybe a little bit better. We're going to the debatable. 5-2-3, I haven't seen used a bunch. And then the 5-2-1-2 is going to foot champs. And I might have a bias in a negative manner against 5 at the back. I've always been open doors. I don't like them. I'm not playing them. I'm not promoting them. And that's where I'll leave off the video. Let me know your thoughts. Comment down below. I look forward to some of the back and forth. A lot of room for interpretation because of the tactical shifts around formations and even play styles if you're looking at the actual personnel that you have available, more or less with the passing. And as always, I have a lot more content coming out ASAP. If you're new, it's free to subscribe. Hit the button.